going and what's happening going into next week. So let's take a look. It was a good week last week. It was fun. Lots of nice volatility for us to take advantage of, which is good. All right, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Let me get this tweeted out so everybody join in here. 1 second, please. Okay, so we're also live here. Here. And let's see. There. Let's see. Let me trade that here. We are also live on TradingView. I think that works out. Let me double check that and see if this link works here. Let's see. Yeah, that's coming up. That's pretty cool. TradingView. Nice. And Twitch. Twitch is live too. Nobody ever tunes in on Twitch, but I guess I could post this here. We are also live on Twitch. Twitch, esports, Twitch. Does Twitch not have like a Discord or a? That's fine. Okay, cool. We're also live on Twitch. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to get all these things tied together. So, some pretty cool stuff there. Anyway, guys, thanks everybody for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Matthias, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. So hope everybody's doing great and is having a wonderful, blessed weekend. And I just want to say I appreciate everybody for being here and for tuning in for the show. So I am just working on here, just getting everything kind of finalized, set up. And what we're going to do is here today, guys. Of course, everything we're going to talk about. We're going to go over sectors today, and we like to do this at the end of the week. We like to check out the charts and see how things are going into next week. You know, bullish, bearish, all that stuff. See if we can find anything that's setting up. Kind of go from there. So, of course, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome. Good. All right, so what we're gonna do here, guys, is we're just gonna run through sectors like we did last week. A lot of the sectors we pointed out last week ended up playing out nicely to the downside. We saw a lot of bearish setups going into this week. Hey, J-Boss, yeah, good afternoon. So yeah, so just going through sectors here today, guys. I like to do this on Saturdays anyway, so I figure we may as well join in together and take a look at how some things are setting up. But of course, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome. Good. So like I said, guys, we're gonna we're gonna check out and see, go through different sectors here. I just kind of ran through and look at some names that, some sectors that are kind of looking bullish, other ones that are kind of looking bearish-ish, right? And then what we'll do is we'll look and see. This is how I like to try to find some setups that might be kind of creeping up on us. And going from there. So, but that could turn into like future trades or ideas, right? Depending on how the strength or weakness of the sector, right? So that can give us a lot of clues into to future price action. So that's why we do it. But other than that, guys, let's go ahead and take a look here. Like I said, let me add it. I want to add a couple. I want to add these here to this window. Give me 1 second. So, oh no, I didn't want to put it there. I wanted to put it here. The main window here. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to roll these sectors in here. So TLT, XLU, PAVE, where's the where's our the IYZ. 1 second, let me get that pulled up here. I'm just going to get the sectors of interest here today, guys. XLP was interesting. XHB is interesting. So we got a couple bullish sectors actually going into this week. And then other than that, we got cruise lines, XRT, XME. Don't see what I note there. What my note was there. Oh, airlines, yeah, and then of course the Bitcoin name. So we'll take a look at those guys and track those here going into next week. But other than that, let's get started. So here we go, guys. I got the chart pulled up here. First, just a kind of a quick review of the over S&P 500. We'll take a look at just the weekly charts here and see how things are, kind of setting up going into this week. So we'll look at the SPX and we'll look at the Qs. It's kind of the main ones there. We'll look at the IWM as well. If we go to the weekly chart right here, we can see that the prior week, right? This is the week we just finished. This is the prior week right here. We had a bearish engulfing candle here on the SPX, and so bearish engulfing candles, guys, give about almost a 70% chance of follow through to the downside, and we did get it right. Now it wasn't easy, right? Because we gapped up early this week, and we even pushed a little bit, so it looked like for a little bit that we were going to work our way back up to all-time highs, and it just didn't happen, right? So once we lost last week's lows, that's where the volatility really started to kick in, and when we started to take this bearish engulfing candle down. Now, we did generally hold the macro upper trend line on the daily chart. We also held basically the weekly mid-Bollinger Band, which is your 20 moving average on the weekly chart. So it was an okay hold right there, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes in the next week. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit of a bounce going into next week. Is a lot of people bearish, right? But it's all about really holding kind of the 50-day moving average on the daily chart here in this 20-day moving average. So, Arm, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to TradingView. Really appreciate it. So, you got a question? You bought Wink on 0.00078. You guys have to decide whether it's better to keep it, sell it. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I guess that's a crypto name that I haven't heard of yet. We'll take a look at that in a little bit too. Yeah, after we go through some sector stuff. So, we'll be taking a look at Bitcoin. So, probably when we're looking at Bitcoin, we'll take a look at some crypto stuff too. Happy to look at it. So, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. All right, cool. So that's what we're seeing here on the SPX. You can see, translating this down to the daily chart. It gives us what is looking like a, just kind of put a couple lines on here. There, you can see this right here. So you see it's looking like an expanding diagonal here to the downside, which means that we kind of have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish type move, and we could be this could have been just a wave 1 leading diagonal. We could be looking at an approach of a 618 retrace here for a wave 2, and then we'll see if we get wave 3 down, 4 down, 5 down. That's a bearish count on this one. The other possibility too is that all this was just a complex corrective pattern, like a WXY pattern, with kind of an ABC, ABC, ABC in between, and this is it because we're basically holding this macro upper trend line right here, and that could start the bounce up for another wave up, another fresh wave up. So that's a possibility as well. So there are alt counts right here, guys. I'm not saying I have any idea which way the market is going. What I can tell you is that there's a big sentiment out there of kind of fear, right? And usually fear, once that happens, everybody starts getting bearish, right? The put call ratio started going up. Once resale starts loading into like longer term puts, try to still disagree. Okay, yeah, it's all good. So once that starts happening, then it usually does the reverse of what everybody's thinking, right? So that's just kind of how the market works, right? So that's an idea there. What's going on with the SPX. Let's take a look at the Qs here real quick and see how it's going here with tech. Again, the Qs also had a bearish engulfing week the prior week, and we did pull off of that as well. It has a little bit of a different chart right on the daily than what we'll be seeing, but we did finish with an engulfing day on Friday, so that's a little bit different, right? We had a little bit better of a rally on the S&P, so the tech is really one of the sectors that's starting to look pretty weak going forward into the week ahead. So that's something to consider. Like I say, guys, I think we'll see what happens. We could gap down 50 points on Monday. That is a very extreme possibility, right, with the volatility where it is. But if they do a bounce, we could start to see names like Amazon, stuff like that, start to rally a little bit, at least in the early parts of the week. And then we'll see if we get to that 618 retrace on the SPY, and then if that starts to bring things down, right? So we're going to keep an eye on that here as well. So those are kind of the main sectors right here. IWM, a little bit stronger in terms of its rally on Friday, right? We kind of held the recent lows. This is looking like, almost looks like an impulsive wave down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is tough here because a lot of these, to count this as a 1, 2, right, what we want is to hold the recent lows. We really can't do that right yet. So it's harder to tell if this thing is really ready to go or not. So that's one of the big things we've been looking at here too. And of course the XLF, again, a little bit of a lower low here as well and a lower high on the candlestick chart on the weekly. So it's a tough area, guys. This is not an easy market right now. The wave count is not as straightforward as a lot of the the other ones that we've seen. So we really want to see how these hold going into the week ahead. So good stuff there, guys. Other than that, let's go ahead and go to the weekly chart. And go to the weekly chart and see what we've got going on, right? So XLF, you can see is holding some recent levels. So a couple names that are actually looking a little bit bullish going into this week is obviously the TLT, right? Now, what that normally means is that if the bonds are strong, right? This is your 20-year, right? If the bonds are strong, then well, usually the rest of the market is bearish, right? So you can see just by where we closed right here, it's looking like a cup and handle type pattern. So the TLT could be getting ready to go, and if it is, right, that could actually be inverse sentiment on the market, right? So we definitely want to see how that's going into this week. So I always get a little bit sketchy when the strongest sector is like the bonds, right? So we've got that going on, but there's other names too, and these are kind of make sense. When things are weak, folks like to go to flights of safety or areas of safety, and the XLU is actually doing okay. It's been sideways here for a few weeks. It's got a lot of upper shadows right here, but if it does show some strength, we kind of get out above a couple of these weekly highs right here. We could see a push, especially above this 68.80 level. So that's one to keep an eye on. And if you do, right, a couple of the names that you'd want to look at here, if we go to the daily chart, right, you look at like Dominion, right, nice close on Friday, right, so not bad, right. So SO Southern Company. Decent close over a couple daily levels, right? So nice one there. And then Duke, right? So Duke Energy is another one. PCG, I don't really, this is one I probably wouldn't look at, right? This is the one with all the fires, and there's been issues, wind issues in California, things like that. So, but it could be bull flagging, but it's actually interesting to see how much this thing's actually rallied since it's had its major issues. So again, like I said, guys, if the market kind of keeps the same, the way everything is looking right now, and continues in its general direction, right, you've got the XLU is something to keep on the radar. I know it's not really exciting, but it is something. A couple other names that are looking kind of interesting. So the PAVE at least. This one's been working its way down a bit right here. This is your daily chart. If you go to the weekly chart, again, it's interesting to see that this is such a big hype name. You see all these green candles up here heading into the infrastructure bill, and once we got the infrastructure stuff going on, it was kind of like a sell the news type event. So PAVE is actually looking a little bit sketchy. So with that name, right, we look at Caterpillar, right? It's kind of one of the big ones that we look at for that. Again, if the PAVE sector starts to stay weak, keep a look at Caterpillar. Did put a lower shadow next to John Deere, Deere and Company. Kind of hanging in here on the weekly chart a little bit, right? So there's a couple of the names that we look at for infrastructure. There's other names too, right? CSX, kind of a transport type name, Big Doji, right? So we've got that going on. Other than that, guys, the IYZ, telecommunications ETF, lower shadow on the weekly chart, but a bearish engulfing candle. Right, so that's tough, right? We'll see what it does. It could be a hanging man. If it is the case, it's kind of a hanging man or a big hammer at the lows right here. We break out over the weekly highs, right? This is one that we can see get going. So why did it start to rally last week? We got a decent close on Friday on that in that sector. So you got names like TCOM. I'm sorry, not TCOM. Goodness gracious, that is not. This is a China name that could easily get. In fact, look at that. It looks really, really weak. This is a Chinese name Chinese travel name with the delisting news that might get a little bit sketchy. But you've got like your AT&T, right? That actually had a higher high, higher low. Right, nice candle on Friday. Decent fall on that one. VZ, another one that's starting to look pretty good. You've got the VIAC. Not really super duper telecom, but look at that. Almost a Morningstar reversal on that one with a decent candle right here too. So again, a couple of these names, if they get strong and they stay strong in these sectors, your telecommunications names could get going. Big one that was a big mover recently is the home builders. If you go to the weekly chart on the home builders, they're doing okay, right? They're not doing too bad, right? We had a huge push up right here. We cleared weekly pivots, came back and retested it. If you go here and look at this, right? We go here. Oops. I could put a trend line, hello, trend line. There. So cup and handle breakout, retest and bounce, right? That's on the weekly chart. So what we do is we go back in here and we look for names that might be setting up, right? So you've got Home Depot. We thought it might break down last week. It didn't, right? And so it might actually be working on a flag breakout, right? So if we just go here, kind of like a bull flag breakout, right? So it doesn't need to be stretched out that far. So there, right? So bull flag breakout potential. So it started to test above it here this week on Home Depot, and it kind of came back in to retest it. So see if the retest gets any strength on that one. That's one to look at too. You could also look at lows, right? Not as good, almost like in fact, that almost looks like a dark cloud cover. So a little bit of caution on that one. But a couple of the actual true home builder names, didn't have such a horrible push right there, right? So Len had a good day on Thursday when the market was kind of blah, right? So Toll Brothers is another name, right, to look at, and then the paging Dr. Horton, right, the DHI, again rejecting some recent highs right here. But Home Depot is one to keep an eye on too, right? So if things start to get strong, and that's looking like it's ready for a, it looks like it just did a retest of a bull flag. Okay, so we've got that one going. Okay, so those are the that's basically it. There's not really too much, but the home builders, the utilities, and the telecoms weren't looking too bad, and of course the bonds, right? So if the bonds start to pull back, right, if that was kind of a false breakout on that one, then the rest of the market might start to work its way up, right? So those are kind of the big names there too. But other than that, we've got a couple cruise lines that are looking weak. CCL, tight inside week right here again. Airlines, AAL, right? That's an inside week right here. UAL. Again, it's all about the Omicron, right? So, if that starts to, reduce travel and all that stuff, could be really sketchy, right? So, double inside day looks like on UAL, almost. Pretty close to a double. It's definitely an inside day harami. But again, we could see a reversal back to the upside. So, but overall, this sector has been really, really weak recently. I'm saying this is not necessarily an entry right here. It's just something to note. The XRT. The XRT's been pretty weak. Look at that. It had a bearish engulfing day, essentially, right? Or an engulfing day, at least on Friday. If you go to the weekly chart, right, look at that drop. Big drop right here. So again, a loss of the 88.50 level could be pretty nasty, right? And then what we do is we just drill down and look and see, what else is setting up, right? So your Macy's is looking a little bit sketchy right here. If you go to the daily chart, right, starting to get a little bit of volume here on the downside, right? Your Kohl's, right? That's another one. Kroger, back into the range right here. Look, Kroger started to make an interesting breakout move the other day out of this geometric line and came right back in and under it, right? So this is one to look at for sure. That's a failed earnings breakout right now. Right, so if this breaks down, if we lose below Friday's lows, Kroger could be actually a downside mover. So I think that's another one to look at too. So that's kind of like the retail names. Costco is reporting this week. So again, they reported some sales. They had sales were a little bit less than expected. I mean, this company is always profitable. It's just whether they beat expectations or not is really the one to look at here. So it gave an epic run up since the last earnings report. And continue to move, right? So that's definitely one to keep an eye on here, and we'll see how it does on earnings going into this week. So keep an eye on Costco this week. Another one that's actually looking kind of interesting is the XME. This is a bearish sector here. Just kind of been down right here. You kind of look at the kind of the mining names. Your GDX, right? That was struggling here a lot. The FCX, right? Free Park McMoran. Right, so we got that kind of keeping it in kind of a tight channel range right now. So these are a couple names to just kind of glance at in these sectors that have been pretty weak. Airlines we looked at, cruises we looked at, casinos looking weak here too, right? Win. Again, just really a lot of double inside day. A lot of these names are just juggling to see whether or not we get any more information about the Omicron, right? So we've got that going on. We've also got the LVS. Hey, Bezon, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, we'll take a look at SOL too. Yeah, absolutely. We're taking a couple of these crypto names too in a little bit. LVS, almost a Harami candle right here. And then, of course, Penn Gaming, interesting. Right, that's been working its way down here too. DKNG, not really a casino, but kind of an online type thing. Doji sandwich down on Friday. Right, eventually these things will reverse, but overall bearish, right, in their intradays. So those are the majority of the sectors. Then the last ones, guys, so we're going to get into some crypto stuff. Just real quick, so let's look at the BTC. USD. So let's take a look here. So again, we got Bitcoin, guys. Huge drop here over the weekend, right? But if we go back and we look at our levels, let's take a look here. Where's my stuff? Load chart. Where's my Bitcoin weekly? Look at the Bitcoin weekly here, guys. So this is a big drop right here that we had. If we go to the daily chart. Right, there's a couple sectors. We put this in our bubble report last week, which is our daily newsletter that we do. But we broke down below a couple of these levels right here. We said if we lost 52,000, we would see 50,000 pretty quickly. We ended up undershooting that really fast, but then they bought the dip on it. So this level right here, this zone, is a weekly potential support zone. Right, so we haven't tested that yet. We have a zone in here, right? This kind of rally base, rally, right? And you can see we bounced right off of this level right here. So this is a good area right here. If we lose these lows, these recent lows, then this is the next big area of support, right? You can see we had a rally, base, rally here, drop, base, rally, right? It hasn't been retested yet. But if we do start to lose this zone right here, right, this kind of area, then this level could definitely be tested here too. So definitely keep an eye on that for the Bitcoin. So cool stuff there. Yeah. So let's take a look and see what we got. So Aram, you've got a couple other crypto names. You got Wink. Okay. Is there a Wink USD? Trying to see what the best chart is to pull up here. There's a Binance chart on Wink. Tether, Wink USD coin might be the one to look at here. See if there's anything else. What the best chart is to look at here. Wink Binance. Wink versus Bitcoin. That looks interesting. But there is no that's Wing. Winkworth PLC. USDT. Okay. So just the Win USDT. Let's try that. Binance. Yeah, this one right here. Cool. Yeah, let's take a look at this one. So, all right. So let's see what we got. So you bought Wink of the analysis to decide whether it's better to keep or sell. I mean, here's the deal. This is your weekly chart, right? So a lot of these names once they break out is a lot of these names once they break out is you get these huge moves, right, on these crypto names, and then they drop really fast too. And then you kind of look to see if there's a wave count in this one. So so here's your initial move, right? That's kind of like your wave one, right? So this is probably your wave two move. You can definitely see like there's an A, B, C movement to it, and then you have this 1-2-1-2 type look. So it is possible, right? If you just pull out the Elliott waves on this one here, and I'm just going to do just a basic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see if we start here, 1, 2, right, and then this would be a 1. Here gives a fresh 1, 2 on this one. So it does look overall generally bullish, right? So what I would do with this one is at this point I would just use your channel, right? So what you do here is you go here, and you put a weekly channel on this one here. You go to your lows, and you go here. See how that's holding that geometric really, really nicely? You go here, there. Okay, so there's your channel, right? So you're basically right at the bottom of it right here. There's a little bit of a lower shadow off of that. So my concern would be if we go down to the daily chart, right, kind of drill down a little bit here, is really make sure it holds these lows, right? So a solid close below 000506 or below 506, definitely could start to see the 392 area pretty quickly, and could be working on a move down, right? So, but generally it looks like it's working its way up. So like I said, this could be essentially like a 1-2-1-2. So what you do, just go 1, 2. Oops. 1, 2, and then you put a subwave here. 1, 2. It's hard to see the first one there. Or is it, I don't know if this is even put on here. Okay. I don't even see it. Is it hiding here? Anyway, hit down here for some reason. I don't know why. Really odd. Okay, so you kind of this 1-2-1-2. So what I mean by this is that this could be bullish, right? It could be very bullish, right? So this could be 1-2-1-2 means that we could be working on a wave 3 of 3, right? So that means so 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 3, right? And it continues to work its way up in another impulsive wave. So again, I would use this channel here as your guide. At least I would for me. And then if we got a nasty candle that closed below this channel, I'd be like, okay, this channel's breaking down. This is just a corrective pattern, and we might be seeing more downside on it, right? So that's the big thing I'd look at there. And Bezod, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks. Let's take a look here. So you got the SOL on the radar. Let's take a look at SOL. We tweeted this out a little bit earlier, so I think there's a Sol USD, right? Yeah. Coinbase. There we go. Okay, so this is interesting. Wow. Pretty cool stuff. So we drew this earlier. We published this a little bit earlier. Big macro upper trend line right here. Okay, so this is, if anybody hasn't seen our trend line, how we draw trend lines and stuff, definitely check it out in YouTube. we posted it this morning in Twitter too. So all the links of like my stuff is on my profile. But yeah, if you go to the Twitter page, I posted it early this morning, the trend line video. I usually do on Saturday because it's so important. But we had this nice trend line right here, right? And we broke down, right? We went here. We haven't really confirmed below these lows yet. So every time it just kind of tests it and kind of stretches the chance that this thing wants to break down, but we haven't seen any real confirmation this thing wants to. And so what I'm showing here is if you go to the weekly chart, right? The weekly chart here, you'd see we had this is a drop zone that ended up being prior resistance. And then if you kind of just scroll back here, you can see we had resistance here, resistance here. So this ended up being a rally base drop and then a rally base rally. And then we're coming up and testing this zone, right? So this zone is really, really important. So what I like about the SOL, yeah, Arm, obviously I can't, give any advice or anything like that. But like I said, for me, as long as it holds that channel, and I could publish that chart later if I, but let me actually pull it up here for you so you can just kind of look at it. I'm not sure if you can copy that here in WinkUSD Twitter. I'm sorry, Tether. Binance, you wanted, yeah, this one here. So let me publish this. So Wink holding the channel. Give me one sec, guys. Wink. Is it Wink Army? Is that what everybody follows on Twitter? What's Wink Army? Wink Army. Hashtag Wink Army. What is that? What does it mean? Oh, okay. Wink USDT. Got it. All right. Crypto Warrior. Wink and Wink Army. Gotcha. Okay. Wink Army. All right, let me get that posted here. Wink Army. Holding the channel for now. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. There. Channel for now, and could be a 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. So let's go here. Trend, wave analysis, chart patterns, and then make that Wink USDT, Twitter, and we get that posted. All right, cool. So going back to the chart here. All right, cool. So yeah, so like I said, like for me, as long as it holds this channel right here, then if I were in this, I would be like, yeah, this would be I want it to hold this, right? But if we break down, if we get a strong candle below here, I would get out, right? So in the meantime, but what this shows me that if we're holding this channel, we're at least holding some sort of trend, right? So that's the idea there on that one. So and then Sol USD, let's take a look one more time on this one. So Sol USD, Coinbase here on this one. So again, yeah, this is the big level here on this. We published this a little bit earlier, but this zone I would say is really, really important. Right, and what would happen is if we do push to fresh highs, then what you can do is you could stretch this line over to go to the recent lows, and then we would continue look to continue the uptrend to go from there, and just look for viable dips while we're in that range. So that's the big thing that we're tracking there on these cryptos. But other than that, guys, good stuff. Really appreciate all the requests out there. Really great stuff. Like I said, hopefully you found this helpful. We like going through our sectors and trying to drill down and find out what's bullish, what's bearish, and within those sectors, because what we want is if if something's looking good and it's setting up, we want some tailwinds, right? We want some tailwinds to help push the name, right, that we're looking at. And if you find a strong sector, right, you can find a strong stock, and then you can get it moving, right? So, but there's a lot of divergences here this week. General overall weakness and bearish sentiment, and I think because of that we may actually gap up on Monday, but then we'll see where we go from there. Anyway, guys, really appreciate everybody for tuning in. I gotta wrap up our newsletter for this weekend that I'm writing for our group, and so looking forward to doing that. Anybody's new to joining us here, be sure to give us a follow on Twitter. Check out the links in the TradingView profile, and also there should be some links in the descriptions there too, like on YouTube and everything like that. So good stuff, guys. Once again, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow if you guys tune in on YouTube and Twitter, and on some of these channels we'll be going live with Paul with Algo 382, where we'll be taking a look at some chatter names and exploring some ways Elliott wave counts on those. So looking forward to that as well. Anyway, guys, once again, really appreciate everybody for tuning in. It was a great evening, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. And God willing, and till then, stay healthy out there. Remember your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And we'll talk to you guys soon.